You're listening to What's Your Heart Problem podcast, the show that brings you healthy advice and perspectives on your heart relationships with your host, Dr. Holder. She has 20 plus years in the field of helping others as a dedicated therapist. She is a coach, speaker, a loving mother, and wife. Dr. Holder is here to help you get to the heart of the matter. Now, without any further ado, please welcome your host, Dr. Holder.
So this is your host, Dr. Holder, and I'm here today. To talk about relationship pull-ups. Relationship pull-ups. I know everyone's like, what is a relationship pull-up? Basically, a relationship pull-up is when you speak to your partner, family member, friend, co-worker, pretty much anyone that you're in relationship with. You speak to them and, someone did, they did something that was not appropriate to you, whether in statement or in action, and you didn't appreciate it. It could have been disrespectful. It could have been hurtful. It could have been something that you can't continue hanging out with them or chilling with them if it's not addressed. So basically, you talk to the person about how you feel and letting them know that, hey, I didn't like what you said or did, and I need you to correct that action for us to be cool. And that is what I call a relationship pull-up, my own terminology, you would say. And so I wanted to talk today about that and how important it is that all relationships have relationship pull-ups. Typically, if you go to the gym and you exercise, there are these like bars and you can like do pull-ups. And the whole point of doing a pull-up is you are helping your arms, your back. I think it's, your arms, your upper arms, and I think it's under your arms too, like under. I'm not a gym expert, but my guess is that when you do pull-ups, it's helping something like your sides, it's helping your upper body just become stronger. So it's painful, especially if you're not used to doing them. And so when you pull up, you're pulling your whole body up. And so it's very strenuous. If you speak to a gym person that's done it, or not even a gym person, anyone that's done a pull up, they would tell you, yeah, it's a little painful. It's a little pain. And similarly, our relationship pull up is really a communication strategy, or I'll say a communication not even strategy, but it could be a strategy. But it basically is in communication, where you speak to your mate, your partner, your person, basically the person that you're in a relationship with. You speak with them and you let them know, hey, I didn't appreciate that, and that's just not going to bode well with me. What are we doing about that, or can you change? Can you adjust that behavior for us to be good? And so relationship pull-ups are important in any type of relationship because it gives the other person the understanding that their actions are not going to be okay with you, and you are just you're just acknowledging the fact that, hey, this is not cool with me, let's stop it. Those are important because it helps the relationship to grow. It helps the other person understand where your line is. It helps the other person understand that there's certain things that they can't say and do around you. And if it's a real relationship that the other person, respects as well, they'll stop doing the action and or the statement, the behaviors. Now, if you do say something that has bothered you and the person is not open to adjusting or changing, then you have to definitely look at that relationship and look at the person to see whether or not you want to remain dealing with those behaviors on your own. And so I say that relationship pull-ups are important because, like a pull-up, that's why I bought the gym analogy. It's important because even though it's not something that your partner or person that you're in a relationship with is gonna like hearing, and it might make the moment uncomfortable because I don't think anyone likes to. I don't think anyone likes to um, talk about. Not even talk about. I don't think anyone really likes to just say you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that. It kind of messes the flow, right? But sometimes it's important to mess the flow up. That's my point. Because you're not okay. And the flow is already messed up because you're not okay. And so when you don't do that, resentment, bitterness, all these various issues, come up, and you have to address that. But to avoid all of that, address the problem, address the issue so that the person understands that, hey, this line is being crossed. Um, Stop disrespecting me, stop making me feel bad, stop, doing things to undermine me. Um, just stop, because this is not love. This is not appropriate. This is wrong. And so confronting um, individuals that are doing that in your life is very, very important for you to continue to be well within yourself. Last week, I spoke about the relationship you have with yourself. And I didn't go into it. I just was kind of like giving you a broad view of like the factors that you should have balanced in your life, just to do a relationship check in with you. And from those factors, I'm kind of like adding the bridge of now people relationships in this episode. And so when you are emotionally and mentally, physically, financially, socially, and when you're balanced, it's very hard for someone to come at you in a way where they can just outright disrespect you without you not calling them out, without you not calling them out. Basically, you're gonna call them out. You're gonna call them out when they're off, and it's your right to do so. And so I just wanted to speak on the importance of feedback and really hearing your partner, or you hearing your partner speak about what impacts them, and also what impacts you that they would do. And so I was talking about the gym analogy. So yeah, so with the gym analogy, yeah, when you do pull-ups, physical pull-ups, they're painful. It hurts. But what it does do, it does build muscle, it does build strength, um, and it takes work to do. A relationship pull-up is similar. Like, when you're in a relationship, it's not always going to be flowers and roses. There's going to be bumps in the roads where, in adjusting and learning each other, you kind of have to like tell them what doesn't work for you. Tell your partner, tell your person what does work for you, and kind of and them you, and kind of like work with each other in flowing in a way where both parties are feeling good with each other, as well as feeling good in the relationship to flow. So the relationship pull up does help with the flow, but you have to be open to feedback from your partner so that it continues to flow. And it might not feel good, because usually, when you hear not so great things about yourself, or your partner hears not so great things about them, it does, like I stated before, bumps in the road, bumps in the road. But I believe that it does help to initiate positivity and joy and health in the relationships for the long term. But you got to get through some of it. Sometimes you just don't know your partner. in certain aspects. And what a relationship pull up does is it helps to it helps that process along. And so, I literally, this idea came to me. I was driving in my car and I was just thinking about how people can be in relationships and how, sometimes you can feel disrespected or you could feel like not listened to or not heard. And because you didn't address the issue or because you didn't deal with what the issue was, it stays. And so you're thinking and thinking and rethinking and coulda, shoulda, woulda, or you're feeling bad. Why am I feeling bad? What's going on with me? Why? All those things come for you. And all you had to do was tell your person or tell yourself, whatever the situation or circumstance is, that, hey, this needs to be addressed. And whether internally you have to address something or externally with someone else, it needs to be addressed. I remember, and I started doing this when I was very, very young. I wouldn't feel good. Let's say, like, so I would come out from work and I would sit in my car, and before I would go, like, because sometimes it would work with, for me, whenever I was worked in where a lot was always going on, so I never had the time or chance to just be like, okay, what's happening for me today. The only time I would feel that way or to do that was when I go to my car to go home. And typically I'd sit in my car, and before I would drive off, I would feel this like inkling inside, like something ain't right. And I would just sit in my car, be like, okay, what's not right? What's going on inside? And I would just think through the day of what didn't go right. And so it would be something as simple as I felt brushed off when a coworker interrupted me when I was speaking in the meeting, and I lost my train of thought or something. And it was good. And so I was annoyed with that, but I didn't have time to process because we had to go to the next client or we had to go to the next case or something happened. And so my thoughts in the car were always, can I get past this on my own, where I don't need to address it because I kind of addressed what the situation was and I move on, or did it bother me so much that I had to address it with the person the next day, or not. And so those were the two questions I always had for myself. And okay, why do I feel not so great? Did someone do something? Did I not do something for myself that I was supposed to? Those are the things that you want to check in, because checking in is very important every day of your life. It can be where days like come together and you're like, is today Monday and it's a Thursday, or is today a certain day and it's another day. So I'm just really talking about, again, self check-ins, the inner check, right? And with the relationship pull up, that is considered an external check. It can be an internal check too, depending on your relationship with yourself. But today I'm really speaking about that outside external version of like, hey, I didn't like what you did. Can you adjust that? That really hurt my feelings that you did that. Can you adjust that? I didn't appreciate, what you said the other day, or and just go like that. And now obviously it's the way you say it. So if you are in a relationship and your spouse or your partner kind of did you, really pissed you off, so that it doesn't go to the next level where you kind of like get back at him or her. I always tell my couples when I do counsel, I say, do the sandwich method, because if you want longevity in your marriage, you want to come to your partner in a way that, yes, he did something wrong, but let's grow and learn from it, not let's bring each other down. And so, one thing that I'd say is say something good. Like let's say, there you go. Let's say the garbage. That's the typical one. um, he forgot the husband. Let's say, the husband forgot the garbage, and he didn't take it out. And the wife is like, ah, you didn't take out the garbage. Don't say that. Hey, honey, I noticed that you've been awesome taking out the garbage this past week, but you missed. Can you take it out now? It's starting to smell, or it's whatever. And yes, he does it. Great job, honey. Like, it's simple. That's a very simple issue, obviously, but that's kind of how you gotta flow, because what you want in your relationship is you want to be able to snap back when it goes left. And what I mean by snap back is, um, rubber band, and the rubber band, if you pull it and then you loose it, it kind of like comes back to its smaller self. So you expand it, and then it comes back to its smaller self. When there is some kind of argument or disagreement, I'll say disagreement. Let's say there's some disagreement. It's kind of like you're stretching the rubber band from its normal regular state. You're stretching it in the argument or the disagreement. What's awesome is when you can um, get back to your normal state, get back to your regular state without harm and destruction. That's the important. That's very important in a relationship, because the more you can get back into your regular state after a disagreement, the longer your marriage will be, because that those points of tension and contention and all these issues, um, when issues happen and there's always a negative thing, there's always some kind of not a full resolution or partial resolution with resentment and bitterness. It comes back always in another argument or a different way, because the other person didn't feel heard or didn't feel so. As I was speaking about relationship pull up earlier, when you come to your partner with, hey honey, that, and hey, you didn't, he'll come at you with, well, you don't do this, and back and forth. And so, to avoid back and forths, how you do a relationship pull up, to your partner, to your spouse, to your family member, to your friend, your coworker, I say use the sandwich method. You can never go wrong with the sandwich method. Now, if there is resentment, there is bitterness, there is drama, there is history, there's, maybe that may not always work. But for the couples or the relationships that are still in a healthy way, I would say the sandwich method, especially in disagreements, work in helping you and your partner to get to that next level. So that's what I wanted to share a little bit with today, because I tell people all the time, especially couples, what is your goal? What is your purpose? Let's get to the heart of the matter. What is it that helps you and your partner to function and to flow nicely? And part of that is listening and hearing what the other person is saying, hearing and feeling what the other person is what their story is, what's going on with them, and not assuming that just because you've known them for 20 years that that's what they're going to do all the time. It doesn't always happen that way. You can change it up, but it's really what you want, what your partner wants, when it comes to relationships. Now, in regards to family members, friends, co-workers, all of that, this method can work as well, because you're pretty much just saying, I don't like this. Let me put it in a way that doesn't bring more drama to the issue at hand. That's it. Um, the biggest thing in this life, man, is living a peaceful life. Now, if you got to fight, you got to fight in regards to what you believe for, what you believe in, all of that. That's fine. But the biggest thing is peace. And if you can bring peace to a situation and without war, and there can be resolution, why not try it? Why not? And so that's all I'm trying to teach today. Really, feedback, giving a relationship pull up to your spouse or partner or to your friend or whomever. If they really honor the relationship, they'll be like, you know what? My bad. You're right. And that's it. That's it. But you got some people with the pride and the ego. Well, you didn't do that and you didn't do that. So they don't even realize how they come across and make it more difficult than needed for the relationship to flow. So I'm just more of like, hey, man, um, feedback is important in relationships. It helps to work in the magic of like loving and just being joyous every day because you got your person and your person got you. But overall, relationship pull-ups help the relationship to do better, to just work out um, um, you know um, great for the couple or a friend or family member. I got like one or two questions here that I I have and I wanted to share with you guys. The first question is I'm in kind of a relationship. We have sex, but it seems like all there is to it. But it seems like that's all there is to it. We don't go out or anything like that. At first, it was okay, but now I want more. Should I tell him or should I leave it alone? Well, I say this: if it bothers you, because it seems like it does bother you, tell him. And it's funny that this is the question I get, and this is the topic I have today. Um, this would be considered, even though technically you're not in a relationship, um, you should tell him how you feel and let him know that you're no longer comfortable with this arrangement. You would like more from him. And if he's not willing to do that, then you have to move on. It seems like you're ready for actually a quality relationship and you're ready to go forward. And if he's not with it, then you got to let him go. And if he does, and if he's with it, good for you. And you guys can, get into a relationship and start, really becoming that couple you want. But if he is like, nah, I'm good where it is, then you have to make that decision and choice to leave. Because typically, when someone's okay with something, it's kind of hard to change their mind. And why would you want to change their mind? If they are good with how things are sexually with you, um, they're not going to change. So you would have to decide what you'd want to do from that point. Hopefully, I was able to answer that question. And then the next question I have is hi, I don't get why guys don't call me back for a return date. I'm guessing a second date. We typically go out initially, have sex, and then I don't hear back from the guy. We have such a good time, but I don't get it. Okay. Um, well, one thing I've learned with men and some women, but majority men, is that they are very visual creatures, and when they have sex without a connection, an emotional connection to you, it's like nothing for them. They can just go on to the next without a problem. They got their back scratched basically, and they're on the next level. So they kind of got what they wanted from you and they left. And that's probably why you don't get a return date from these guys. Even though you guys had a great time during the day, he's probably thinking, this is all she is. I'm good. I don't got to search. I don't have to I don't have to like go out of my way to do much. She gave that to me. I'm out. That's literally what just happened. What I would recommend is not having sex on the first date. If that's been your, not having sex on the first date, especially it being your experience rate where the guy guys don't call you back. Um, if you want a real relationship, because it seems like you do, if you want a real relationship, you want a relationship, you want to not have sex on the first date and wait, spend time with the person, let them get to know you, you get to know them, and then you make that decision that you want to make. But I would not recommend having sex on the first date, because you're getting the feedback in action. They're not calling you back. So please be careful out there. Please practice safety, and just ensure that, you're not having sex on the first date, because that's not been helping you in the relationship department, it seems. So, those are the questions I have for today. Like I said, today's episode was on relationship pull ups, and I just wanted to give you guys some feedback on that. So this is Dr. Holder signing off, and I just wanted to say you have more power than you think. And
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of What's Your Heart Problem podcast. If you're enjoying the show or found value in what you've heard today, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for listening, and we hope you'll join us again next time in the next episode of What's Your Heart Problem podcast. See you then.